Welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network Under the Radar, where myself and my co-host CM discuss MLW Impact, BTE, and Ring of Honor. We have a new little video clip that I'm going to show just so we can give Dolores some props real quick. There you go. Let's see. So I will. You're muted. I assume you knew that, but maybe not.
Yeah, I had to fuss at my children really
I see.
quickly.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start first with MLW as I normally do. Um,
I'll be
this
back
week,
in a few.
all right. This week they were in Tijuana, Mexico, um, as more of their Super Series tapings with AAA. Um, uh, the show opened. Normally, I don't really talk a whole lot about the segments, but this segment was kind of funny. The show opened with the second gear crew. Mance Warner is in a Las Vegas room. They're all in the Las Vegas room. But Mance Warner wakes up in bed. He realizes it's late in the day. He riles up Matthew Justice and Manders, who are all passed out. And then Microman is passed out, also in the corner, who wakes up with a big old pair of panties on his head. So clearly they had a night to remember in Tijuana. So that's basically that. Then they go into the first match, which was La Rebellion versus Taurus and Abismo Negro Jr. Really good, fast paced match. Um, it's not a must see, but it was a good, fast paced match. Then we have several segments. The two most important things that come out of those segments are that the the Taya Valkyries featherweight title match with Delmi Exo is going to be postponed. There's no real explanation why. It just is postponed, mostly because Delmi says that Taya doesn't want to face her. But and the other big thing is that Willie Mack and John Hennigan get into it backstage during a Willie Mack promo, and Willie Mack ends up getting himself a shot at the title. So at the open weight title. So him and Hennigan will be, I believe that'll be next week. So, and then the main event was El Hijo de Vikingo, Psycho Clown, and Rey Horus versus Sam Adonis, John Hennigan, and Gringo Loco in an ODQ match. This is my number one match of the week to see. This was a must see. This match was really good. Lots of high flying activity, some great spots. Psycho Clown is amazing. If you're not familiar with him, he's a legend in Mexico, one of their big stars right now. We're all becoming very familiar with Vikingo, and Ray Horace is amazing. Gringo Loco's making a name for himself. We all know John Hennigan, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Mundo, Johnny WWE, John Morrison, whatever you want to call him. And we know he can wrestle. So this was six men that can really go. Um, really, really good match. Lots of fun. They gave him a good amount of time. This was almost the whole second half of the show, of the hour show. And yeah, it was a really good show. So that's MLW for this week in about 4 minutes. CM's not quite back yet. Um, oh, there she is. So we can go ahead and move on to either Ring of Honor or Impact, whichever you want to talk about.
Before we move on, I have a question,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you will be able to answer this or if you think I'm just crazy. Um, do you think that Tony Khan is allowing Billy Mack to like do other things with like MLW and other folks, but primarily MLW, um, because they got WWE to admit that like a multi-million dollar, billion-dollar, like I okay. So being fully transparent, and this is off topic, y'all. ALW did not know I was gonna ask. Um, this is like something that I thought about since finding out that they had to admit that one, and then finding out today that Meltzer is reporting how they're doing business with their rental contracts for arenas and everything. So it's
Who,
just
MLW or WWE?
WWE towards AEW. I don't know
Okay.
if you've heard, but WWE has basically put it in their contracts like the arenas can't host the AEW event within a certain amount of time. They can't advertise until WWE has already done their show. They can't sell tickets until WWE shows their show. And I know that's in retaliation to times where that was not the case and
Mhm.
they outsold WWE.
Sure.
But given that WWE's argument for MLW that WWE is not a monopoly because another multi-million slash billion-dollar company exists, do you think that Tony Khan is like, gotcha, bitch,
Oh
and is
yeah.
now allowing them to like work with other talent, or do you think it's just like I already committed to these dates? Um, it would be good business for us to finish it up like that.
No, I think it's the first one. I mean, I think that I think Tony Khan came in. I think part of his forming AEW was to be a little bit of the antithesis to WWE and to be the company that was going to be open, work with other organizations, let their guys work around, not just have them under exclusive contract, do everything where they're, you know what I mean, where they're exclusive to
Mm-hmm.
AEW. And I think he's done a good job of that. I do think that the MLW lawsuit has definitely done some stuff where it's made WWE have to look at some of the shit that they do. Otherwise, they're going to get in trouble probably. I mean, I don't think MLW's. It might already have been dismissed, but I don't think they're going to win that lawsuit probably. But it does put eyes on WWE and make people that are concerned about that stuff watch it, and it gives Tony Khan more fuel to say, look at what WWE is doing. It doesn't. I think it's great all the way around. I mean, the isolationist of WWE is terrible for wrestling, in my personal
Mm-hmm.
opinion. Um, it always has been, but for the longest time, they were the only company. Now, they were the only company because they did a lot to make sure they were the only company, but at the same time, they were the only company for a long time, so it's hard to argue with that. But now that there's other companies, yeah, I mean, it's a shitty situation over there at WWE. It always has been, and it's not getting any better. Just because they sold to Endeavor doesn't seem to make any difference. I mean, clearly Vince is still in charge. Nothing's changed. What was that? A month and a half ago? Nothing's changed.
That
We'll see what
deal
happens long
hasn't
term, but you
the
know.
deal has not gone through yet. Just
Oh,
so
it's not
folks know,
finalized yet. Okay,
the deal has not gone through yet. Every I has not been dotted. Every T has not been crossed. There is a likelihood that this could fit. Just so people know.
I
Um,
didn't. I was unaware of that. I thought it had already gone through, but that's
nope.
interesting to know.
They have to sign off on everything. There's certain approvals that have to be got, like given, just based off of the type of entity in which
Sure,
they're going into. Because you have
makes sense.
like a sports company buying a sports entertainment company. How does that look? Different commissions, things have to be signed off on. Finances have to be legitimized.
Sure,
So we got a little ways.
yeah,
So the next one, is ROH, right?
yeah. We can do ROH or Impact. We haven't done one yet, so wherever you want to start doesn't matter.
Okay, so Impact this week, um, it wasn't necessarily a lot, and that's kind of the issue I have with Impact and how they run like their pay-per-views. There's not enough build time for me, given the depth of their roster.
Hmm.
Um, I will say Trinity
Hmm.
and Savannah Evans was a really good match.
Hmm.
As a Trinity fan, we all know I love seeing my girl, love seeing her having fun, enjoying like all of that. But I'm also again super happy for the growth that we see from Savannah Evans becoming more comfortable. Um, just the way she's moving. I loved it. The ending where Deanna Purrazzo comes out, and you have the challenge, and Trinity's challenging in July. I think Giselle is going to ruin that. And also, speaking of Giselle and her minions, I guess, um, again, I ask if you can take down Jordan Grace, right? Who arguably has more muscles than Bully Ray and Steve Macklin. If you could take her down with a purse and knock upside her head 3 times with your knee, why couldn't you come save your man, girl? Like, damn. Damn, if you don't like him, just tell us that. Just tell us that. You ain't gotta. You could just tell us that you don't know.
I like the spot. I'm a Trinity fan as well. It's fun to see her wrestle. I mean, this and the main event were really the only two matches on the card that I thought were really worth mentioning this week. Um,
More matches?
I what?
Did they have more matches? I don't remember promos.
Yeah, they had a
I
couple
don't remember
matches. Jody Brett
matches.
wrestled, and Sammy Callahan, Eddie Edwards. But I mean, Eddie Edwards and Yuya was okay. But again, anyhow, I mean, here's my thing. Trinity looks great, and I'm very excited for her versus Deanna Perrazzo. I'm glad that they're not doing it until July, I guess.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I understand she's a star. I don't like it when people come to a new company, even if they're a star, and are right away, I want to challenge for the main title. And I get why they want to. I mean, it's natural. That's what you do. That's why I'm here. I just think she needs two or three, four more matches before you get to that point. I mean, I don't even know per se who you wrestle, but if what you say is right, and her and Deanna wrestle in July, and Giselle costs her that win, then that's a different story. Because then really we have a Giselle Trinity feud, which is really the story, and we'll get back to Deanna at some point later for the belt, which that I'm okay with.
But that's how Impact usually does, especially
Yep.
for someone who comes from WWE. If they come from WWE, you're guaranteed they're going to have a title shot within the next pay per view cycle. And in doing that, they either win the belt, go on and have like a kind of lengthy reign. They win the belt, lose it within like a month or so, or they don't win the belt because they're going to enter into like their first feud that they had to kind of build off of. I want to challenge for this belt.
Yeah.
So, um, I think for Trinity, it's going to be challenging Giselle, which is really good, honestly, because Giselle, Savannah, and somewhat Jay Vidal, if he gets involved, all have aspects that Trinity kind of needs to pick up a little bit more, like the speed and like the physical presence and like different things. So working with them will be really good. The problem is if you want to build her up, or even the next challenger for Deanna in the women's division, what who do you have now? Therein lies like a problem right now. Like the Impact women are good, but most of them are involved in past.
Yeah.
They need to do a little more. Um, and I think maybe having having like a women's pay per view again would be beneficial to them, just so they can kind of clear out and reset some feuds and so.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. So I thought that match and the Motor City Machine Guns versus Subculture, those were really the only two matches that I thought the main event. That was a
That
good match.
the sub okay, so subculture versus Murder City Machine Guns was like watching the same team at two different points in
Yeah, right?
years, and it was just like who
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's
who
like watching the before and after, or
it's
the
like
teacher
watching
and the
the
student, like
present
the
and the future.
present and the future. Yeah, that's a better way to put
And
it for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
will say Alex Shelley really needs to work on those promos. He's got a little rusty. Thank goodness
Hmm.
for Chris Sabin. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
Impact was
Shelley's
just,
always been a better wrestler than a talker, but and
yeah.
Saban's always been the better talker for sure. But I do feel like
Impact,
Alex Shelley was better at one point. Like it feels like his promos
it
were a little
wasn't.
bit better at one point.
Alex Shelley is better at cutting promos when they have to cut heel promos.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a more natural heel. I think he feels more confident and
Yeah,
natural as a heel.
he's a way more confident heel.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because he seems like such a nice guy.
Right.
Man
Yep.
saved
Yep.
up with wrestling so he could be a paramedic during the pandemic. Like I don't know how much more of a nice guy you could be.
Right. So that was all I wanted to
Unless you
point out
believe in
about Impact. I'm trying to think. Was there anything important from any segments? Not really.
um
Not particularly.
oh yes, 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 yes. The 8-4-1 match,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
which is two teams of four facing off. The winning team then faces off right after, and the person who wins that match becomes like the number one contender. Rich Swan is actually in that, and because the feud with the design is still ongoing, Sammy and shoot, what's his name? His name's not John.
Jake, Chris?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Chris. Um, those two have to team together, and he made an interesting comment um about the monster when the doctor calls. So I'm like, who are they going to get to go against the design? And is it going to be Jake something? Because, we haven't seen Jake something in a while,
We haven't.
anywhere really.
Right.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. No, I forgot about that. That was interesting coming out of Impact. Uh,
And we had an Impact show where PCO didn't pop up.
thank God.
Oh, and we are totally getting a mixed tag match between Frankie Kazarian and Miss Tess Mocker
Mocker. Mocker.
versus Eddie and Alicia Edwards. So,
Yes. And unfortunately, Bully Ray was back on our TV this week. I mean,
and
it wasn't a terrible segment, but I'm not a big Bully Ray fan. I just,
I did appreciate him stirring the pot with everybody. I
that's what he
did
does.
appreciate that messiness. That
That's what he
messiness.
does.
That was
All
good.
right. Do you want to do BTE before we do Ring of Honor? Or you want to do Ring of
Yes,
Honor and then do BTE?
yes, because the implosion hurt my heart, and I'm not ready, and I must speak on it.
All
Um,
right.
so we're gonna talk about BTE. Um, so this episode starts off with Brandon Cutler showing off the gear for the Bucks. This that his wife prepared for Anarchy in the Arena. We get clips of Anarchy in the Arena. It was really good to see people who were actually fighting, like their perspectives of it. Um, and it was very interesting, like the storytelling that unfolded, and how like they saw Takeshi come out, and just the impact of that, and just how it all plays out with Kenny. Um, I'm thinking, based off the comment, based off of this week's BTE, and based off the comments that were made on Dynamite, a few assumptions. One, Kenny now knows, or is close to knowing, what happened to the Bucks, because if Don Callis really wanted to break them up, he would have told them what happened with the Bucks. Two, Kenny is realizing like he has to accept help a little bit, but also stand alone. And how that's gonna play out is kind of interesting. Um, but an interesting note is the fact that the Dark Order, and we see this throughout the episode, the Dark Order realizes Hangman doesn't need them anymore, and what that means as far as everything going forward. Um, it was really interesting to me to see just how everything is playing out. We saw it also on Dynamite where they were just like, okay, well, you don't need us anymore, so we're done. Um, we are now down to 3 members of the Dark Order. And that's going to be interesting how that plays out. We had Nick Nemeth kind of do a rundown of his show. That was okay. This week it wasn't really funny because his annoying friend was back shooting, and the annoying friend is like actually annoying and not in a good way. So fast forward past that. However, we got the replacement Bucks back. We got Grillo and Dean Alexander, and they were doing like a stand-in Q&A for the Bucks that started at 8 p.m. and only Willie Max showed up. But that was actually pretty funny, that segment, and it's really great to see Grillo back. Super excited to see him and Dean Alexander start teaming up again more. And I personally enjoyed it. This week's BTE, if you have like extra 30 minutes, watch it. If you need something to do while you're working out or on a walk or something, watch it. It's not must see, but I think it definitely serves as a breaking off point for things that will be must see pretty soon. So yeah, that was me for BTE. Oh yes, and now we get to talk about ROH. You know you're muted, right?
I did not. My bad. So I'm just talking to the
Yeah,
ether.
that was dead air for both of us because I was like, oh, he's talking, but I
My
can't
bad.
hear
That's
him.
great. That's great television or great streaming there. That's wonderful. I was
Norm.
saying, Ring of Honor was kind of a mixture this week. It felt like there were times where I thought to myself, "Shit, this is dark and dark elevation from here on out," and then there were other times where I thought, "Oh yeah, this is Ring of Honor." So it was kind of a mixed night. Still too many matches. 11 is too many for one TV show like that. Um, the biggest thing that I thought was really weird, and I still want to talk about it, is the Stu Grayson stuff. Like he came out with the righteous. He definitely wrestled with the righteous. Definitely wanted to fight Evil Uno, especially. So I'm
Well,
not sure
he
what's going on.
said that no one controlled him and no one spoke for him. And that was the issue he had with Evil Uno. I think if you remember when Stu made the comment of, oh, you guys kept wrestling without me?
Yeah, I do remember that comment. I do, but now the righteous are basically speaking for him. It feels like it's like
Are they? Or
I mean,
are they
not
allowing him to beat everybody's ass
well. There
and
is that.
serving as backup?
There is that. I guess there is that. I don't know. I guess it'll be interesting to see. I mean, are you saying at this point now that you want Stu Grayson with the righteous?
No, I don't. I want to do a Dark Order, but I want Dark Order to have something meaningful. I think Dark Order needs to go back being heels.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, I me personally, I don't understand how you have a name like Dark Order and you're a face order. Like it feels like an oxymoron. Dark Order should be an evil heel faction. It just should be, right? I mean, that's my
I mean, Max Caster did also point out correctly, much like House of Black, you have
right.
Dark Order, and it's a bunch of white guys. So yeah.
Sky Blue versus Trishadora was a good match.
You know there are matches that you want to see on like a different show so they can get more
Yeah,
viewership,
yeah,
but you also know if they were on that show, they would not get the same amount of time.
mm, yeah. No, I agree.
That's the one.
Yep, no, I agree. Let's see. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Rocky Romero was okay. That was a good match. But really, for me, the match on this card that I thought really stood out the two. Well, I guess technically the three, the last three really. The six man with Bandito and Vikingo and Commander. Obviously, those guys can all go. It's really interesting to me. Serpentico is such an anomaly because at times he looks like a total jobber, and other times they actually let him wrestle and have some moves, and he looks like he knows what he's doing. It's a bizarre dynamic with Serpentico.
Well,
But he looked really good in that match.
it's very much as he says, Snake Man plays the role Snake Man needs to play.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
So if you need him to put like to be have that effort and do all this stuff, he will. If you don't, he won't.
Yeah. And then Shibata versus Coughlin for the pure championship. I like watching Shibata wrestle, and I'm a pure rules fan. I like that kind of wrestling. And then Athena versus Kiera Hogan, which I thought was really good. I thought
I
Kiera Hogan had a really good outing.
I do
She,
not like Athena as a person.
right.
However, her versus Thomas Braxton and her versus Kara Hogan, there are two, at least two really good feuds right there. I want to see.
Yeah. No, I'm here for Kiara Hogan, and I thought that they let her actually look, despite it seeing it being so kind of overpowered and aggressive right now. I thought Kiara Hogan had a lot of good offense, and at the end, especially when she attacked her and was like, "This isn't over with." She's the first one to really kind of stand up to her like that. So yeah, I'm interested in that. So I thought that was really good.
Um,
Um,
you missed the segment.
oh well, it wasn't necessarily addressing every single segment. Which one did you want to talk about?
Of course, I'm going to talk about my good bro, Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. And then
Hmm.
that
The Island
like
Boys.
we could be the Island Boys, and Samoa Joe was just like, "When are you going back away from here? Not now. Don't want to see you. Like I am clearly the better TV champ. You're just here because Tony Khan has this pay-per-view coming up, and
Right.
after that, I don't have to deal with you anymore." That's the vibe Samoa Joe was giving.
No doubt. Yeah, and I'm here. I want to see them two go at it for sure. I want to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Samoa
I
Joe.
just want to
But
know how many times Samoa Joe is going to do the walk away with Zack Sabre, because my money is on at least two, no more than four.
I love Zack Sabre Jr. as a promo too. He's just hysterical. Joseph of the Samoan, Joseph of the Islands. The way he calls him Joseph the whole time. It's so much great. It's so much better because he's British, and British people just sound pompous in general a lot of times. So
I
it
just
even
feel like
adds to it.
there's times where Samoa Joe legit rolls his eyes so he doesn't break and start laughing.
Right, for
And
sure.
you can see it because it's just like, bruh, this dude is like such a nice guy in real life, but he's also probably an ass.
Yeah. No, that was probably the funnest thing on the whole show. So yeah, I guess I shouldn't have missed that. But
But
that was Ring of
yes,
Honor. It was a good episode. Like I said, it was kind of up and down. It was a middle of the road episode. It had some really good matches and then some what felt like dark elevation kind of squashing matches. So I'm not sure where
out
we're
of
going with
everything
this,
that
but
we covered, what for you is which show was a must watch show this week?
ooh, must watch show. That's tough. Honestly, I thought MLW was really good this week. They had two
Mhm.
matches and both of them were really solid. The Vikingo Psycho Clown Ray Horace match. There was a 6-man match. It was three of them. That was my number one match for my three must see matches of the week, which is rare because MLW is usually not must see. If you're
Mhm.
lucky, they have one must see match or one really good match. But this week they had two really good matches, and then some good promo stuff. So I thought MLW was the best this week. Of Impact and ROH, I thought ROH was better than Impact.
Um, for me, out of everything, I'm going to go with ROH being the must watch show. Because they had higher quality matches, and I feel like Impact had more than like three matches, but I cannot remember more than like three. It
Hmm.
was really promo heavy, which is okay, but not really what I want from Impact right now.
Sure.
Um, and Impact had must watch segments, but not as many as ROH.
Yeah.
And I don't watch MLW, and B2E was not must watch this week.
Yeah. So, did you actually have three must see matches in particular, or was that just the way you wanted to deal with that?
I did not.
Okay.
Because none of them were like super must see.
Yeah.
Um, it was all like they're good. Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't pick like my favorites out of those because again they were all good. But yeah. So find us live here on YouTube at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays for the cookout. Then All for Naught usually airs on Wednesdays. Fridays starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Friday Night Fights with Friday Night SmackDown with Dolores, Anika, and Sammy. And then around 10, ALW and I joined in for AEW Rampage. I don't watch WWE unless I have to. We are live for most GCW events, either here or on True Hill Heat Gaming's Twitch channel. Um, we have a few new shows getting ready to pop off, so please stay tuned to our Facebook, our Twitter, and of course YouTube, so you can be the first one to know. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and one thing I almost forgot, because we are recording this on June 2nd. To one of our day one supporters, happy birthday, Blue. You still ain't shit, but you're old and you ain't shit.
Happy birthday, Blue.
All right, that's it.
All right.
Until next
Peace.
time.